So now the second Kandika. Tasmai sahovacha.
Tasmai sahovacha.
Ati prashnan pruchasi.
Athi prashnan pruchhasi.
Brahmishtoasiti.
Brahmishtositi.
Tasmate ham bravimi.
Tasmatteham bravimi. They have waited 1 year. He cannot say Ati prashna prushtasi.
So actually, so that is why this there are two meanings of that Ati Prashna which are taken. So this Maharshi Pippala replies to him that Kausalya or Ashwalayana, you are asking too much. Okay, that is what Anuj was laughing at. So this asking too much, one is he has asked 6 questions, which is quite a large number. That is one meaning of it. But the better meaning is that you are asking very difficult questions. However, you are Brahmishta. You are well versed in Vedic knowledge. That is why I will tell you. Okay, so upfront, Maharishi has told you that this is a tough chapter.
I guess he's saying like it is tough to understand unless you are already established in the Shastras, something like that.
Yeah. It's a difficult subject and difficult to comprehend. Atmana esha prano jayate. Atmana
Atmana
esha
esha prano jayate.
yathasha purushe.
यथैषा पुरुषे
छाया तस्मिन्
छायैतस्मिन्
नेतदाततं
नेतदाततं
मनोकृतेन आयाति
मनोकृतेनायाति
अस्मिन् शरीरे.
अस्मिन् शरीरे.
Okay, so now he starts replying the questions. So I must tell you one story on the side. That see, he has asked 6 questions. Okay, no writing used to be done in those days, and you will find that people will answer in exactly that sequence. And this may seem little difficult for us to comprehend now. If you see like interviews and all, 2 questions are asked, and the person who has to reply starts replying and then forgets the second question and says, "Can you please tell me the second question?" So we are not even able to handle 2 questions. But Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati, when he was teaching something which was so out of the world, even today we are not able to accept it. But at the time when he started preaching, which was in the 19th century, idol worship and this Puranic preaching had become so ingrained in the Indian culture, which they are even today. But there are at least some people who are influenced by Swami Dayanand and do not follow that idol worship. So it was so ingrained that people had a lot of doubts about what is he saying. How can there be no Shiva, no Parvati, no Rama, no Sita, whom we have? How come they are not gods? They are not avatars. How come there is no Krishna? What is he talking about? Okay, so one person came to Swami Dayanand with 50 questions, all written down on a sheet of paper, and he said, "I have a lot of doubts. You please clear them for me." So Swamiji said, "Okay, go ahead. Tell me all your questions." So he read from the first till the 50th. He read out all his questions. So Swamiji said, "Okay, so what was your first question?" So he started flipping his paper. He said, "No, I know what was your first question." So he started answering from the first question, and sequentially he answered all his 50 questions without having to look back at his paper. So this is the kind of mental power which used to be there. So we must also try and develop such a mental capacity. Currently, we are a little constrained by our Western method of teaching. Okay, so he says, Atmanaha Esha Prana Jayate. That from the Atma, the Prana is born. I will tell you first a literal meaning, and I'm not giving you the meaning of Atma here because of a particular reason. Yatha Esha Purushe Chaya. Just as a shadow is created from a being, from the human, from man. Etasmin etad atatam. In this, it is spreaded. It is spread. Mano kritena ayati. From what is done by the mind, it comes. Asmin sharire, in this body. So, very cryptic if you just hear it first off. Atmanaha eshaha pranaha jayate. From the soul. Now, most of the commentators have said from God. That is why I didn't translate it for you in the first round. Because Atma could stand for Paramatma, that is God, or Jivatma, which is the individual soul. So, according to me, from Paramatma is not correct. From Paramatma, everything is born. So, it's not an answer at all. From Jivatma, Pran is born. Again, this is to be understood metaphorically by your Vyangya Arth. Okay, it's not a Vachyartha. So, along with the soul, the prana is created. If the soul is not there, prana cannot exist. And when the soul is ready to occupy a body, that is when God assigns it prana. Okay, so from the soul, prana is created, is born. Yatha esha purushe chaya, just like the shadow from the man. See, this is a beautiful example. It tells you how a shadow is created from a person who is standing. Now, that shadow actually is not that person, but without the person, it cannot exist. It is attached to the person, and yet it is separate from the person. Right? So, such a lovely example it is that something which is intimately associated with something, but is yet completely different. So that is how pran is. It is associated with the soul, and yet both of them have, really speaking, no point of contact. Etasmin etad atatam. In this, it is spread. So in this also they have some people have taken God, or some people have taken Jivatma, but that is also not correct. In this body, that Asmin Sharire, which is read later, is the one which is coming here, that this pran is spread within this body. Mano kritena ayati. It comes by what is done by the mind. Here again, there is a very wrong meaning which is given, which also they are taking from the Gita, where also it is misinterpreted that whatever you think of at the time of death, that is where you will enter. Okay, that is an absurd thing which completely breaks the law of karma, that you will enter a body which is based on your karma. So this actually is giving you the law of karma. It says that whatever deeds you have done, according to that, it will find a body. It will find a body means God only assigns, but it will enter the body based on those deeds. Now, why are only the deeds of the mind mentioned here? you have three types of deeds. One is sharirik, that is physical. Say you give a gift to give a donation to a poor person, so that you do with your hands. So this is a sharirik karma. Then there is a vachik karma. So you bless the person as you give the gift. That the speech is your vachik karma. Then there is a manasik karma, that you are in your mind you are blessing the person. That is your vachik karma. So these are the three type of karmas which are there. But here only the manasik karma is mentioned. Why?
Because
Because
it's involved in all the other two also.
yes, exactly. That is exactly right. That any deed starts in the mind, then only it travels to the tongue and the body. If it is not in the mind, it is not a deed at all. So whatever deeds have been done by the mind, those deeds ensure the kind of body which this pran will enter into. So which are the questions which are answered here? It's your turn to.
How is it born? Jayate question is answered. Katra katham tishtati छायावत् तिष्ठति इति किमपि सूचितमस्ति
No,
अत्र.
no. Katham ayati.
Oh, katham ayati. Yeah, how does it come?
हाँ.
Oh,
Into the
from
body.
manokritena ayati.
Okay. So two
Kutra tishtati
questions.
asmin sharire, that kutra tishtati he didn't ask, I think, right? I can't
He
remember.
did in a way. Pravibhajya katham pratishtate. So that includes where does it sit? So kuta esha prana jayate. How is this prana born, and how does it enter this body? These two questions are answered over here. Okay.
Answered. So one is it's born from Atma aspect, and the second is it is karma which uh, which generates its form. Also, karma pala is the
One
cause of
which determines
mukti.
the type of body which you enter.
Oh, which sharira is chosen? Okay, very good.
Yeah. So if you take the extreme example, if your deeds were so good, or rather you managed to discover yourself, which is not per se a deed, then you are now free, you are liberated. So you will not have a body at all. And so your connection with Pran is also broken, the soul's connection. So this is talking of when you did deeds, and therefore you need to be connected to a body.
In that way, Uttara, isn't it in a way right to think that prana comes from the ultimate Atma
Paramatma.
or Paramatma? Okay. Because it's not created by the soul. Okay.
No, it's not created by the soul.
Soul. So it's ordained by something higher.
Yes.
Who ordains who puts everything into order.
Yeah.
And so we can also think that it's coming from the Paramatma.
So
Or,
why Paramatma is not mentioned here is something like when you are performing any action, like the potter is making a pot. Okay, what he requires at the minimum is time and space. So when you say what all does the potter need to make the pot, you don't even mention time and space, because that is a given. So similarly, here he has not mentioned Paramatma because that is a given. Okay, he will attach pran to a soul which needs to go into body. He will not attach, or he may release a soul from prana which has become mukta. So the fact that God is the one who is ordaining all this is taken as a given. So now you are studying the things which, over and above the fact that God is the one doing all these connections and breaking all these connections, how are these connections forming? How is the prana getting connected to a body? Okay, essentially, that is the question which is being answered over here. That number one, it has to be connected to a soul, and depending on the kind of karma which the soul did, it will be connected to a corresponding body. Okay. Okay. Then this was the third one. Yeah, this was the third one. Now the fourth one. Yatha samradeva.
Oh, yata samradeva
Adhikritan
adhikritan
viniyungte
viniyungte
etan graman
etan graman
adhitishthasva
aditishthasva
ityevam evasha
ityevam evaisha
prana itaran pranan prithak prithageva sannidhatte. Then he now starts answering the third question about the prana being split up into many, and how is it situated in the body. So he says that just like the king, he calls his representatives and he says, you take these villages, you take these villages, and you rule over them as my representative. Similarly, the prana, it splits itself into many and stays in different parts of the body, performs different functions. Okay. Yatha samrat eva adhikritan viniyungte. Just like a king assigns his representatives. Etan graman adhitishthasva. In these villages, you rule. Evam eva esha prana. In the same way, this prana, itaran pranan, other pranas, it generates, and prithak prithak eva, separately, it controls them. It rules over them.
Oh, interestingly, then there is like a Samrad equivalent prana, and then there are Praja equivalent pranas.
So, see, this is where I've been telling you that there are, you must consider two pranas at two levels. Okay, one is the subtle prana, which is the Samrat prana. Okay, and the other is the gross prana. So once the prana, the subtle prana, which is associated with the soul throughout this period of creation, that prana enters the body along with the soul. As it enters, it starts now splitting up and forming different forms depending on the body in which it is situated, and therefore the kind of functions which are performed in that body. And based on that, it then starts splitting up and performing those functions in different parts of the body. So the original prana is one samrat which is anyway there. Even among these pranas which are there is a higher prana, you can say, which is situated above the lesser pranas. But otherwise, they are all more or less the same. So when we talk of the 5 pranas, actually, it is more or less just confined to the human body. Some of the higher animals as well, but always the human body is studied more. There is an underlying theme in all our texts that what is important for us to know That is what we must know. What is irrelevant, it doesn't really matter too much to us. Even if we don't know, it's okay. Okay, but what is relevant to us, we must know. So therefore, always the human body is considered first, and other bodies are considered as on the side, and everything about them may not be studied in detail. So these 5 pranas which are talked about are the human pranas. In other beings, as I told you, in trees it will operate in a different way, in fishes it will operate in a different way, in an earthworm it will be something different. But probably in all mammals, you will find the 5 pranas, which we will now discuss. Okay, but now time is up, so we will take it in the next class. So this,
But interestingly, because I was looking at a source text, there they interpret these other pranas as the indriyas and the other gramas as the parts of the body, something like that, and the mula prana as the original prana, that is overall lord of the indriyas.
no.
Interesting, but that's not how you see it. You see it as
No,
prana and other.
it will be followed up with the description. And it is the answer to the question, no. So it's saying pravibhache. How does it split up and is situated in the different parts of the body? So Indriya is not a prana, number one. And number two, prana, we have seen that it not only India, why India, the whole body, every cell in the body is being ruled over, is in the control of prana. So that has been covered in the previous chapter. That is over and done with. So now we are looking at what are the various forms of prana which are there, and what are the functions which they perform in the body.
Okay, I agree. This is messing it all around prana as indriya, etc.
Yeah, this grammar, you can sure you can look at upon it that way, but yeah, different parts of the body, sure, that is okay. Okay, any other question is there? So this is a good preface. We have covered the preface part. No, we did answer 2 questions, so those were also there. Do ponder over those questions, because the answers are deep, all said and done. And then we will be getting into tougher parts from next time. So let us say our Shanti part. Om Shraddham Pratar Havamahe.
Om
Om
Shraddham
Shraddha
Pratar
Pratya
Havamahe.
Bhavamahe.
Shraddham Madhyam Dinam Pari.
Shraddham
Shraddhyam
Madhyam
Madhyam
Dinam Pari.
Dinam Pari.
Shraddham Suryasya Nimruchi.
Shraddham
Shraddham
Suryasya
Suryasya
Nimruchi.
Nimuchi.
Shraddhe Shraddhapayehana.
Shraddhe
Shraddhe
Shraddhapayehanah.
Shraddhapayenah.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti.
Okay. I didn't ask, are there any questions? Any more questions are there? No? All right.
For next class.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
I mean, even to formulate a question, you need first to contemplate on what you've learned and then, articulate your gaps. So it takes time.
Yeah, true. Okay. See you next time then.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.